Hey everyone, and welcome to the pilot episode of LCS Doom Scroll. We have a bunch of compiled links in here from around the LCS offseason that we're going to talk about the most interesting ones. And also, just to go at the start of this episode, we're going to do a quick LCS power ranking. We have to do this quick. Cloud9 literally won last year, but I don't know if they're going to go in S. All these teams up here look like they spent money. I think that's it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Is this in order or is it just tiers?
Maybe that. Yeah. Okay.
A good time to screenshot so like when Guardians wins next split.
I know. Oh my crap.
They almost got to finals one year, so
yeah,
definitely.
What year did they almost get to finals? Almost got to finals. This right here. Look at how many steps there are between finals.
Look at that, so close.
I saw this 2003 for Busio and 1993 for double-elimination.
Oh my god.
That's over 10 years. I don't know if that's ever happened before.
Well, Yeon's hair was amazing in that shot.
Yeah?
He's gone full Saiyan.
His hair looks like this every day. Okay. Grandpa lift. Let's see this one.
these kids don't know how good they have it. They're so trash.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Like seriously, I can play better than myself, and I'm almost 30.
In this piece.
I hope you're right about that, Grandpa.
So make it
Get you out of
Best
here.
part of the video.
He wheels him away. I didn't catch that the first time.
Yeah, Yasuo wheeled him away, and he's like, I'm almost 30. And apparently, as we just learned, second oldest player in the entire LCS. This was actually pretty accurate in terms of double-liv's co-stream. I think he just spent the majority of the co-stream like passive-aggressively bashing other
Old man.
AD Yeah. Faker. Vikla plays with a lot of confidence. He's a really good player. Where are we on Faker's credibility? Because on one hand, he is the greatest player of all time, but I feel like he says a lot of troll stuff. Ashley Kang on Twitter. I asked Faker, is it true that you almost said LCS is the best region in the world?
Oh,
I think LCS is the best region in the world. I think so too. I agree.
We're getting trolled.
Faker, they have the potential to be the best in the world. I mean, yeah, like I think the LCS is one of the best regions in the world. There's not that many. This makes this quote mean a little less. Like
It might have been in the ... there.
Oh, true.
There's a lot of confidence.
True.
He kind of sucks in other parts, but
Let's see. Plays with a lot of confidence. Where is this? That's not even in the article. Like I can't search for it. Max Waldo out at C9. This was a little surprising actually, because it seemed like they literally did win the LCS with him as head coach. But he says 100% my decision to leave. Awesome 2 years. Wish them nothing but the best. And I feel like more pros are active on Twitter now. Tenacity, finally Fraud Waldo has been fired. Cloud9 needs to make someone who isn't afraid to push players and set expectations. Someone like Reginald would be a great fit for the Faker coaching.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
I can't wait for Tenacity's like Twitter feed all next year. It's gonna be amazing.
I think he deserves a follow. I've talked about him enough.
Wow.
get in there.
Following.
Yeah, now that he's in the LCS.
Let's be real, you're
It's in
following
there.
for the jawline.
His Twitter feed is gonna be a whole section of
Grab
this
all this
show, I feel
content
like.
for my show, but gotta earn that follow.
I think so. I mean, this is very revealing going through my own Twitter. So. All right, LCS needs a hero. Who is it? Oh, Vulcan. He is one of the better follows for sure.
Oh, good, you're following
He
him.
literally only has 68,000. This is a travesty. I saw this one too. I think Bjergsen, while he was in Korea, apparently Ben is TL's old manager, and I guess because Bjergsen is still in the TL apartments, he was like, "Hey Ben, can you do me a favor and probably like watch my cat like every once in a while?" And he just like rocks up and pretends to be Bjergsen and like he just uses his toothbrush.
Oh no!
I mean, they microwave.
is-
Like, what are they doing?
Oh,
like,
no.
Oh my god, no.
Yeah, they just use all the books that Bjergsen either read or pretends to read are right here. That's a lot of books. But then, like, what is this like a?
Cat tree.
Is it a cat tree? It looked a little
What
fancy.
did you think it was?
I don't know. I wasn't sure.
Foreign workout machine.
Yeah, I think Bjergsen needs to move now. All right, next section. faves and blocks. Never leave your cannons unattended. Six seconds. Busio water walking. What do we got? I can't handle these Zoomers, man. Flash farm morning in LA. It's okay. I have water walking. No, I don't like that one. Someday Hall of Fame induction with Thunder Thieves. This is actually really cool. He'd been with the team for 5 years. They had all his accomplishments. They inducted a few players from other esports as well, but there were 3 in total. They had like this nice thing on the wall. In terms of doing an actual like good send-off where it felt like a player was respected by an org when they're not re-signing him, I think this was really, really well done. So definitely favorite. All right, we got some spice. Contracts boomer. Okay, we got Isaac. You got a hot take.
Yeah, I got a hot take. My hot take is
All right, I got the tweet for you.
this is, I think, just going to be a big thing for NA talent when easily one of these two guys takes home MVP and the other takes rookie.
The double.
Double.
Okay.
And if, like, people say, oh, they're untested, but you got to let these boys cook.
This is the same strategy EG did. You bring in basically two rookies, 2 young players, and then have veterans around them. I think it is a good combination. Many of you are curious why they're not joining 102 Thieves with Bjerg and Douglas, so I want to get some context. You knew it was going to happen until I remembered what they did to me in 2020, and I had to reconsider. There's a 9-man sleep meme, but who actually put all of TSM to sleep in this photo? Everyone has the text over their head. This is doctored, surely. Yeah. Since that moment,
Well,
it's not been good for TSM. Oh no, it actually was. I forgot. They're actually good in 2021. They were first place in regular season. It's a better story if that was the end of TSM. That actually does it for the first episode of LCS Doom Scroll. See if this worked, and we'll see you next time.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We got one more game for you before we close out the first day of the LCS Spring Split 2023. It's Immortals and TSM. But before we get into the game, we have more pressing matters. Chad, why don't you follow Berserker?
Yeah, what was that?
This guy just won a summer split.
I can understand, some of the players maybe just coming in a league and he hasn't gotten around to following them yet. Busio was up there too, hadn't gotten to follow. But Berserker?
Yeah, that sucks.
My man's trolling. But the show was really good, so good job, Jat.
Yeah. I did like the segment a lot. There's a lot of like nice little touches at the end as well. But Jat, we're gonna give you a stern talking to. I had to catch my language there. Can't be going crazy on the first day of LCS. Maybe later. But for Immortals, top lane, once again, Revenge. Jungler, Kenvi. Mid laner, Ablazeolive. Bot lane, Tactical. And support from the Turkish League, making his appearance on the LCS stage, Fleshy. And then their opponents on the other side of the rift, it is TSM. Top laner is Solo. Jungler, Bugi. Mid lane, Maple. Bot lane, Neo. And support and Academy fan favorite, Chime.
This is gonna be a really interesting matchup. These are 2 of the teams that I think people do have lower expectations for, right? But obviously these teams are hungry. I got to talk to Xiaoyi a little bit, before the season started, and he said one of the things that they were really kind of screening for when they were making this roster is players that are really hungry, players that feel maybe that they've been underrated, they've been overlooked, that are really trying to look to disprove some of the narratives and kind of feelings about them. And they felt they had found a lot of those kind of players, so interested to see how they're going to work out here.
Yeah, to follow up, there is a upcomer article by Nick Garrissey talking with Solo and how he had actually gotten offers from other teams during the offseason, but he settled with TSM, and one of the big reasons why was because of Xiaoyi, because Xiaoyi being a former professional player back during the days of the LMS, he loves it when a coach knows what a player wants to hear from, and that's exactly what you're going to get when a former pro player is giving you feedback. So between him and even players like Maple and Chime also really enjoy having Xiaoyi as their coach as well. Hashtag LCS is thriving, baby.
You love to see it.
2023, dawn of a new era. It starts now.
It's been a really fun day so far. I've got to admit, the stage is looking sick. There's been some really good content. I love all the teams are also stepping up and putting out a lot of new content as well.
Yes!
So if you've fallen out of checking some of the teams' YouTubes, you should definitely go around and check them out. There's been some really good shows.
Yeah, and you know what? We definitely have some diehard fans who have been rounding up everyone's content. So if you can't find them on Twitter, you can definitely check out some of the threads made by Travis Gafford or even Angie as well, who's done a lot of great job just making sure everything is condensed in one right place. But we got a draft going on. Nothing out of the ordinary once again so far.
Nope. We got Lucian, Nami here for Neo and Chime. Looking for that early game power. Sejuani first pick here. Gonna be for Kenvi. And I'm really excited. Wow, okay, they're just straight up blocking the Fiora blind. So this is interesting because Solo is known as such a tank guy, right? I think this is a little bit of a saying like, I dare you to counter this, right? Like,
come at me, bro.
You're not gonna play something that actually counters this. So very interesting. It's triple melee topside, but they do have AP and AD as far as those solo laners. Elise would be pretty exciting to actually get to see. Has gotten 9 plays across the pro leagues. Is getting more play these days in solo queue as well as one of kind of those early powerful junglers, and could pair pretty well with Lucian Nami in the bot lane. You know, you're looking for early snowball. If TSM want to go full down, they're going for it. So if TSM is going full on early game thus far, this is really interesting though, because it does leave Solo even more so kind of like out to dry a little bit, because you could even throw a couple of bans towards him, or you could throw a couple of bans towards Maple here to really protect those solo laners and take away some of the advantage that TSM has on red side with counterpick, right?
Yeah.
Because was Elise really going to get banned out here? I don't know. Like, I feel like you could have maybe gotten Elise later in the draft, just counterpick one of the solo laners that you think are going to get banned out.
Sure.
But maybe TSM really does have a plan where they're trying to be a bit more tricky and kind of just hide information. But it remains to be seen if that's actually going to pay off.
I mean, with TSM this early on, their core showing a strong bot lane focus, I feel like as Immortals, you just want to say, okay, Tactical and Fleshy, you guys are going to be playing weak side duty this game, because now there's limited options on what solo can really pick into the Fiora at this point in the game. I feel like Immortals just want to give revenge the good old resource-heavy side of this draft. And if you get this Fiora snowballing, I mean, it doesn't matter how far Lucian and Nami are ahead. How do you stop a Fiora just from just taking all your towers and 1v1ing everything?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that can be a problem, but you can draft something that is, heavy wave clear for top lane and just try to neutralize. As long as you can defend your tower, then maybe they can snowball through bots, stack dragons, force the Fiora to team fight where it can be more difficult. So there definitely are options, even if Fiora does get ahead, as long as you're doing well elsewhere on the map. But going to be banning out some of these strong bot laners here, taking away potential of solos. Jace. Jax is a matchup that some people are willing to play. It's pretty heavily skill-based.
Yeah.
It is based around who's going to be able to kind of get the outplay with the parry versus the counter-strike. The timing on that becomes very, very important. And a lot of the 1v1s will be decided by whoever is going to have that better timing. But TSM are going to go for the Cassante. So I feel like Immortals kind of called their bluff, right? They're saying, you're going to play a tank. We know you're going to play a tank. I'm going to pre-counter pick you, and you're going to walk into it, right? And this is something that people used to do to Impact a lot in the past, when Impact really was in those heavy tank metas.
Yeah.
They'd just blind GP into him, and he would kind of self-counter pick with the tank. But oftentimes he was so good at it that it didn't matter. He'd just win anyway. So, Draven Pyke! Okay.
Clear everything, Azael. We've got Draven and Pyke in the bottom lane. Immortals made it look like they were going to focus on the top side of the map, but they say, yeah, Lucian, Nami, whatever. We're throwing axes, we're throwing spears and hooks. We're going death from below.
Oh my god, this is going to be pretty spicy in the bot lane, because when you go Draven, you kind of have to play around it, right? So, going to be really interesting to see how this works out. Maple going to be playing a roaming champion here, busting out the Taliyah. And I don't know if you're a big champion queue guy, but when he first came over, he was playing a lot of roamers. He was playing a lot of Taliyah, a lot of Galio. And these were the champions. Even Zoe was in there as well, where he could kind of push and move and make plays on the map. And to me, since I've seen Maple NNA, that is when I think he's actually at his best.
Yeah.
When he's able to get out on the map, facilitate things. He's not a super dominant laner, right? But he is very, very smart about the game and how he thinks about the game, how he can move around the map. So I do think there's a lot to be said for the draft here for TSM. Feels like solo on an island, roaming mid laner, early ganking jungler, and a really dominant 2v2.
Yeah.
See what they can get done.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing that stood out to me the most. If you want something to really facilitate Bugi in his LCS debut, coming over from his last stint in the LLA when he was playing on Astral Esports. You want this guy to feel empowered. You want him to make moves on the map. And you have a mid laner who is willing to drop resources and say, hey, I don't need to win my lane, bro. Like, I can come towards the bottom side of the map and really get this Lucian Nami rolling. Immortals, this is... I'm still hung up about the Draven and the Pyke, though, because I know we're going to see some action on the bottom side.
I mean, you kind of have to, right? You know, you don't want to be playing passively as this Draven Pyke. But, you know, Sejuani is definitely better built to really fight around these solo lanes, right? Because that is where you have those double melee solo lanes. At the same time, though, Fleshy is going to be playing Halo Blades Pyke, so you can help to really stack up that stun very, very quickly with the Sejuani. You can try to lock people down with that. Nami especially is very vulnerable to this type of pressure. So we'll see how Chime is going to be able to handle that. I feel like, you know, that's going to be the target more so than Neo in a lot of these ganks. You know, if you allow them to push up and all of a sudden you have people coming down here, that E-flash engage potentially, you know, from Pyke with Sejuani coming through a lane gank or something like that, can definitely be really scary.
There's a lot of, once again, expectations for multiple members on both sides of the rift. You already touched upon TSM. They're trying to combat a lot of the negative sentiment that's been around mainly their org, but you know, these players are just kind of caught in the midst of all of it. They're here to show that, like, you know, it doesn't matter what's going on the outside. Our team is here to be a competitive place. And look at that. Even TSM fan chat still in 2023, baby.
Absolutely. Still a lot of love for this organization. You know, they have been so dominant in the LCS for so many years that, you know, it is a big change for TSM fans, right? You know, they went from making 10, 12 finals in a row to now, you know, really kind of struggling in a lot of these games. Nice E level there from Solo, but it does mean no Q start. So not going to be slapping down those Entofos anytime soon. It is going to mean that a favorite matchup for Revenge is going to be even more so towards his side. It is also Grasp on Revenge's side, so he's not going towards Conqueror, more of a scaling rune. It is going to be more about that early laning. You just constantly try to poke away with Q. Every time you have Grasp ready, poke, slap a Vital, really just kind of poke and prod onto that Cassante. And as we know, Fiora really does well into tanks. It's also very, very easy to actually answer things like the Q3 flip with your parry, or even the W stun, and actually stun the Cassante on that. So we'll see how Revenge is going to be able to handle this. He's definitely been, I think, a bright spot for Immortals, and is a strong carry player.
Even during some of his strongest showings, I think when I was speaking to James, their general manager, a lot of people will confuse Revenge as being like an older player that's been around the LCS for quite a while. He's only been here for 2 years. He made his debut in 2021, and during that Xerxes era, they were a stronger top lane jungle duo. When Kenvi came in a last summer split, Immortals were struggling to find their footing, but Kenvi and Revenge are two people that have really bonded during the offseason. And you know, Kenvi, for us Academy fans, we know him to be a strong carry player. He shines best on things like Graves and Elise in the past, but him playing Sejuani, even though it is the jungle meta, this does show us that he really wants to enable his soul lane.
Absolutely, and I'm really excited to see Kenvi's development, right? I think because he came in last year with a lot of hype and didn't immediately deliver, a lot of people have kind of written him off and kind of forgotten about Kenvi. But Kenvi, you know, in that 100 Thieves organization, deservedly built an enormous amount of hype around him, you know, as this incredible carry player. You know, Kindred is my favorite champion, so I watched a lot of Kenvi because this was one of the Kindred guys in NA that really, really impressed. So
Kindred pentakill,
yeah, I mean,
baby.
I've got a lot of hope for him, and hopefully, you know, they can get to a more stable spot where he can really be enabled and develop into the player that I think a lot of us know he can be.
Already Bugi looking for some information. Has Tactical and Fleshy slightly overextended, but Kenvi is in the area. Depending on how fast he reacts, maybe he can salvage this play. Depending on who flashes. Oh, Bugi was trying to go for the flash prediction, but Tactical, patient as ever, waits it out before burning both of his summoners.
Yeah, try to go for the flash prediction, but generally when you're going for those plays, you want to at least have some sort of animation coming out first. Like try to go for an auto first, slow him down, and then go for a Q, something like that. Try to bait out the flash early. I also think in this case, because he's behind them, he didn't actually need to cocoon until after he flashed. So while he's looking for what would have been a really cool play, I think you can literally just walk up, you know, auto him, Q him, whatever, and then force him to flash, because he's going to die if he doesn't flash early, and then you have the cocoon to potentially follow. Either way, it's still a good play. No summoners used by TSM, and they get both of them off tactical.
Already seeing the game plan from TSM have that early rotation from the Elise to make something happen. Now, first time, if it doesn't work, that's okay, because you can always return. Kenvi knows that this play is happening, but can he get here in time? They need to act fast here. Cocoon goes wide. Tactical dodges it out onto it, and Bugi now in trouble, forced to flash away. There's a teleport from Ablazeolive, willing to commit that for his team.
Yeah, does drop the TP. That's actually the biggest deal out of this play, right? The fact that they actually get that TP out. You know, Bugi does have to blow his flash. They're going to try to stop some of the recalls, perhaps. Couldn't stop the recall. If they could have actually griefed Ablazeolive on that recall, he would have lost the entire wave mid. I still think he's going to lose a lot of it. Yeah, he's actually going to lose the full wave, and it's going to push away from him. So mid lane, this is pretty costly for Ablazeolive. Give him a lot to come down there and help him. As you see, you know, all the range minions will die. He already lost the cannon plus a couple of melees prior to this, and this next wave will mostly die and be pushing away. So definitely not what you want to see as a Ablazeolive, but willing to commit that TP because he knows if Draven dies there on that dive, they're pretty screwed.
Yeah, the disadvantage is even more costly than some of his own benefits in the mid lane. And I think, you know, once again, talking to Ablazeolive during the offseason, that he wanted to be known as someone that
Here it comes
is
again.
very versatile and willing to self-sacrifice for his team. But Bugi, if it doesn't work the first time, if it doesn't work the second time, maybe a third time, but Bugi, not gonna happen.
I mean, this is Elise gameplay in a nutshell, right? Like, if it's working, gank more. If it's not working, gank more. You know, like there's no fallback plan on this champion. You're not just like, all right, guys, we're playing for late. I'm gonna go farm.
And now Maple is gonna join the party as well.
Here we go. He's spotted though. Great positioning from Fleshy. He's actually just waiting, so he has the angle there. The positioning from TSM's bot lane was very aggressive. So they're like, we know what you're trying to do. Either way, they are still building advantages here. Yes, Sejuani's gonna be up a camp, but like, who cares? Bugi though, no flash remaining, remember?
He's forced to drop down, no flash available, but tactical, not necessarily in range to threaten lethal on the Bugi, just walks out.
Yeah, and because he has no summoners, it's not like he can really go that aggressive there. You know, if you over chase, Chime and Neo will come over and you'll get punished. So a little bit fast on the trigger for that ignite, I would say. But either way, slight advantages being built up here by TSM on that bottom side. But you look at top lane, and that's kind of where it becomes a little bit more problematic. We'll see how much Solo can actually collect at his turret, because there are a lot of extra minions for him to farm. And I will say that Solo is one of the best top laners in the league at loss mitigation. When he gets kind of hung out to dry and left in bad spots, he's often able to really stay pretty close in those matchups. And it's one of the reasons that a lot of teams have actually just brought him in. You know, he gets put in these weird team situations where it's like, he's just a mercenary. Someone needs a top laner, all right, here he comes. He's gonna get in there, and he's gonna get you some wins.
And that's why he's kind of built a brand, maybe not intentionally, as a mid-game stabilizer or like a mid-season stabilizer for multiple teams. But this is the first time in a while that Solo has been brought in as a starter. So this is where he gets a chance to really give teams a reason why. It's like, hey, this is why you should take a chance on me earlier than when your org is already on fire.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we got to talk to some players, you know, about him and his development, and talk to even Ablazeolive. We got to work with him last year a little bit, and you know, just talking about his kind of improvements as far as his attitude and how he approaches improvement and practice, and you know, even just like conflict resolution and all these things that I think have sometimes held him back from finding those starting positions. Yeah, and it does seem like, at least from those conversations, that he really has improved and become, you know, much more kind of improvement focused and really doing a good job, I think, you know, working on those skills.
Fleshy may be looking for a play here. Neo still has Flash and E available, so even then, even gets pulled in. He's not afraid to just fire right on back.
Yep, gonna get a nice little double tap off there. Out to an early farm lead here down on the bot side. It's really just kind of bot versus top. But I will say, like, playing Draven from behind is pretty terrible. Tactical definitely has to make sure he doesn't die, so at the very least he has the potential to come back through a cash-in. He's got 118 stacks, so not the most, but not too bad. It's 40 gold base plus 2.5 gold for every stack you have, plus the potential kill. So if you do get a kill and you have 100 stacks, and that's 250 gold, you get the 40 base, you are starting to really get a lot. And in some of the slow games, sometimes Draven can just get a massive spike if you can farm it up to 200-300 stacks and then cash in.
So far, with the advantages that TSM have really garnered for themselves off of Bugi's early roam towards the bottom side of the map, Neo's second highest in gold, Maple first because Ablazeolive committed that T-period early on. TSM already trying to use that advantage as fast as possible with first dragon stacking.
Yep, they do grab that up. You know, not the earliest possible, but about 8.5, they are going to grab that for themselves. So feeling pretty good about it. You can see it's tier 2 boots rush for Bugi. So this is very standard, rushing tier 2 boots if you want to just continue the ganking. Right?
Yep.
You know, just continue having that additional move speed, get around the map, continue to pressure, because that's really what this champion can do. I think, you know, Immortals are going to be pretty happy that none of the looks have actually worked out for him yet. Because Sejuani on the other side, Kenvi doesn't really need to force anything. He's going to have a lot of value in those later stages, whereas for Elise, it's really tough to pilot this champion in 5v5.
Yeah.
It is very, very difficult. Unless you're monster fed and you can just jump backline and one-shot someone,
Yeah.
you're kind of just stuck playing on the sides, trying to look for picks from Brush, and really looking for more of that scrappy playstyle. And you can see Solo very nervous about the fact that Ablazeolive had gone missing from mid, right? So you look towards mid, Ablazeolive steps up towards top, and you see this line of wards here. They have the pink ward control in that topside river, which means with that stolen Taliyah ultimate, Sylas could just be surfing on up. So that's why Solo backs it up, does have to give up more farm, does have to give up plates, but it's those little plays that allow you to make sure you're not giving up that kill, you're not giving up that big advantage. And that's one of the things that makes him strong as a weak side player.
Yeah, Solo already recognizes there's a huge gold advantage in my mid lane and bot lane. I don't need to carelessly throw that away just for my own advantage. My team already doing great. Now, Immortals still have a Rift Herald to play with, as Kenvi was able to get that trade-off while they secured the first dragon on the flip side. What you doing, Fleshy? Just saying hi to Neo as he just waits for the wave to crash in.
Yeah, maybe checking if there's a pink in that brush too, if you W buy it. See if there's a ward he can actually grab up. Didn't know that Neo was in the brush, but Bugi and Maple moving down are spotted by that ward we can see on screen. And Ablazeolive is just going to try to harass them as they try to move back up. Kenvi now, though, moving down, does have ulti available, so could look for a potential play here.
Okay, Ablazeolive potentially going a little crazy on Maple, but putting out a mana here. Maple throws some spells on back. Nothing.
Yeah, nothing much coming from that, but nice little sidestep from Ablazeolive. They're dodging out on the fling. Scouting for Kenvi, they don't see him, and now
Oh, Glacial Prison! Great stuff from Kenvi, catches the clip, follows with the Arctic Assault as well. First blood for Fleshy as he finds death from below, and TSM advantage now goes sunken under. Immortals with the first blood of the game.
Yeah, that is massive, getting that first blood. And Draven, I think, even got the cash in because of the Pyke interaction there. So he gets that cash in because Pyke actually got it. Getting your cut, I believe, does give that over. Yeah, his stacks are down to 0, so he got it. So that's a lot of gold. And now, just like that, Slingshots himself a good 300, 400 gold ahead of his lane opponent. Has the completed shield bow. So going to be really, really happy about that. Pyke getting the kill is absolutely massive. It's just a really good bait. TSM, I think, had an idea that they could be around. You know, you see Chime steps up, he throws the bubble in the brush, like, okay, no one's there for sure. And then Neo going with the culling, it's just a great bait. Kenvi is there. The hook lands immediately from Fleshy onto Neo, and then E forward, alt lands, flashes over with that same E for the double stun.
Yeah.
That is nice. Well, man's gonna have to rename to Flashy. That was clean on the Pyke.
Now, Fleshy, a lot of people were having question marks about this guy because no one knew where he came from unless you were a Turkish League fan. And now he's up on the top side of the map, once again, ready to make moves. They don't even need him. Revenge takes out Solo by himself. And now Bugi might be... No, he's fine.
Yep, no flash, but no problem as they're not going to continue the chase. Another kill up on that top side, though, and it's Revenge, who already had a pretty huge CS advantage due to the matchup, due to the pressure. And now this is where it gets real sad. And you're playing weak side, and you're already kind of giving up CS. You're already kind of down. Then they get a kill. Then they get the Herald. Kenvi should just leave and try to give as much as possible to Revenge, because this turret is going down, and that is going to be an enormous gold lead now for Revenge. In a favorable matchup where he has a scaling advantage, he's up 2,000 gold.
Oh, God. Azael, I'm not gonna lie, I don't play top lane. That's
smart.
Yeah.
Good.
that is a good decision on my
behalf.
But whenever I do play with people who are junglers and I get autofill top lane, if I have to deal with that, I'm just quitting the game. I'm just like, sorry guys, I don't know how to play out this advantage at this point and on. This is too much.
It's tough, man. I mean, if you're solo from this point, it's hug the tower and get as much farm as you can, right?
Just pray.
But it gets to a point where you're getting pressured under tower, and that can get really, really difficult. As we'll see what they can get done. Immortals massive lead here. You know, TSM drafted for that bot lane pressure. It was 3, 4, 5 ganks very early on from Bugi down towards that bottom side. They only got the 1 dragon from it though, and it's actually Draven who's ahead in gold now. So really, TSM have not been able to get much at all from this draft, and they're going to be playing from a very difficult spot.
Yeah, and their engages are really far few in between. Bugi doesn't have flash, he's able to walk away safely. Neo maybe looking on the side. Great culling opening, forces Tactical to flash away. Maple looking for more damage. Ablazeolive almost goes down, gets a flash out. Oh, nicely done. Piercing light through the minions, and now Maple's on. Never mind, not the chase.
Yeah, he realizes who he's chasing. That support can do damage. That's not a Nami, that is a Pyke with ultimate available. You don't want to be surfing in at 20% HP. No. But that was just an overchase from Immortals. They had such a winning position, but you can't fight through a corridor against Taliyah. And if we can see that replay again, we'll see, you know, it was the early stages of it going heavily towards them. They had a free dragon to take from that position, but as soon as you walk through that corridor into Maple, the rocks go down, he gets a 2-man seismic shove, Tactical is lit up, and everyone has to run.
Yeah, playing right into the hands of what TSM wanted from Immortals. A little bit of growing pains as, you know, Immortals rebuilding this roster, putting in Ablazeolive, Tactical, and Fleshy, but we get a chance to see that replay once again.
Yeah, it's really just all about this positioning here. You know, you'll watch as they actually move forward, and then look at them. The double knockup, double stun there, Tactical very, very low. They just kind of get AoE'd up as they try to walk through that corridor. And when your carries are low, there's nothing else going on. Ablazeolive stolen culling, trying to chop him up. Not going to be able to get a kill down on that bottom side, but at least protects the tower. But that being said, I mean, it's a big win for TSM because it at least gives you some hope. You have an out of a potential Dragon Soul.
Sure.
Right? So they got that second dragon, and they can at least say, hey, we maybe can get this. We can try to play for every dragon. That could try to eliminate a lot of the disadvantage that we're at.
Accelerate to the point where maybe you can play for Elder Dragon on top of it. If you got Elder, anything is possible, especially at that point in the game. But Immortals, despite a little bit of a flub around that second dragon, still had the Rift Herald to play for, knock down the mid tier 1 turret, and they still have overall map advantage.
Yep, and they have this massive Fiora. No one can really answer in that side lane. They do have the ability to try to potentially, you know, take down Revenge if he over pushes, or if they can find, you know, an unspotted Taliyah to try to get out on the map and make something happen. There's some wards though already trying to protect Revenge. You can see, you know, those couple wards even jungle. They obviously still have their river vision. They have this one mid lane ward. So a good 4 or 5 wards up on that top side trying to protect Revenge. That's what gives him that safety to actually be pushing up towards that tier 2. And it is TSM on the other side of the map trying to make something happen. And that warding, you know, it's not just protecting Revenge right now, it's actually allowing Immortals to know that TSM must be bot side, right? Because if we're not seeing anyone top, they're not all showing in the lanes. They gotta be there by process of elimination.
Put on their Sherlock Holmes cap and start deducing. It's like, Watson, I've got it.
It's Chime in the bot lane with the Nami.
Kind of chilling for the next couple of minutes. No dragon to play for. It is that just exchange of how TSM can deal with Revenge on the top side of the map. We were talking about content earlier and how much everyone from the LCS side, a lot of teams have really stepped up. Immortals, shout out to Revenge, honestly, for the personal vlogs he's been doing. Huge crowd fan favorite as well for anyone who has been tuning in.
Yeah, Revenge is a really fun personality.
Yeah.
He's I think, one of those players that is underrated a bit, you know, maybe a little bit lesser known, a little bit kind of overlooked at times, but has had some really strong carry performances in the LCS, and one of those players that are trying to develop. We'll see if they can actually catch out Tactical here.
Oh, he's super low. Run! Oh, he cannot escape. Maple throws one more rock at his back. He's gonna get knocked down here. Immortal's gonna do everything they can to save this turret, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. Off this minion wave, that is map advantage once again wrestled over to TSM.
Yeah, that's actually a really big kill as well. That's a punish on the earlier flash from that overstay at the dragon where they chased in. He flashed out there, and this time he loses his stacks, right? So he's back to up to about 150 stacks. He loses 75% of those when you do go down. So a lot of gold left on the table there with that kill onto the Draven, but Revenge pushing down here on that bottom side. Likely will get this turret very low. Not sure if he can actually finish it off or not. He's going to stay around though and do just that, and may have him pretty close to his second item here. We can see Solo getting aggressive on Ablazeolive, looking for the fight.
Both of them using all out here, but Ablazeolive, he's the one that's losing the fight, and even if he gets out alive, you've got Bugi and Neo waiting to clean up the pieces, but Solo doesn't need it. He gets the solo kill.
Man is just left alone on an island in a counter matchup, put down, put behind, still finds the 1v1 kill here onto Ablazeolive. That is big for Solo and has to be feeling really, really good about it. Watch it one more time. Ablazeolive here, clearing out the vision, was spotted, walks in, and he just feels like he can actually stop this play. So the TP is coming out. He hits him with the all out. The E was actually blocked by a minion, so he actually steals that ulti, uses it on him. But then Solo just playing this out very, very well, lands the W stun. I think bonus damage maybe even hit against the wall there. The all out comes in, pulls him even further back towards Bugi. So even if he was losing in that 1v1, he's pushing him back towards that Elise who could have helped him finish it off, but doesn't need it in the end. Flashes over, chases him down, and gets that 1v1 kill.
Potentially an oversight from Ablazeolive, was feeling maybe, oh, I got this, I can win this, guys. And then in comms you hear, oh, shit, my bad, guys. Oh, we got another fight. Tidal Wave already cuts off most of Immortals members, forces them to retreat. And now they're in the corridors of this jungle, running down the river. Engaged tools are somewhat limited. Maple still has this wall that he could use to potentially cut them off. No pulling, no Tidal Wave, we've already shown. Solo's got all out coming up in a bit, but Ablazeolive finds the mid laner, but he gets taken out by Neo. Now Immortals have to fight in a 4-on-5 situation, down numbers. The dragon has been around. And look at Maple, looking to cut them off. A beautiful flank from the side, and Maple finds the flank angle. Immortals losing out on Kenvi. No one could potentially steal the dragon away with a 50-50 smite out of this, but TSM don't even care about the dragon. They want to look for more kills. Tactical is slain by Neo.
That is huge, getting a couple more kills there as Immortals tried to pull off this pincer play. But it's so tough as Fiora to just run straight at the enemy team. So even with Ablazeolive coming in from the side, he just gets lit up. They just kill off Ablazeolive very, very quickly here. We can see it one more time. It's the initial TP in. Revenge comes in, has to actually drop the parry immediately. Nice abduct over the wall there, just getting out to those Raptors. But then I feel like you need Revenge to be coming around from the top, like coming around from like this angle or something. Instead, he's actually with the team, so Ablazeolive comes in from the side, but then these 4 members trying to move in can't actually really get much of anything done. In goes Ablazeolive, but he just is killed off immediately, and it's Solo standing in the front, blocking out everyone else. Has those 4 members coming forward into it, but he has the W up, has that damage reduction, and is able to shut them out of the fight. So smart team fighting, patient play here from TSM, and then a great wall from the side from Maple, who is kiting around, and they combo it up with the W stun there from Cassante into the wall onto that Sejuani. They burst him down. That guarantees they're going to get the dragon, but they want more. Chime is flashing in. Bugi is flashing in. They know they have those slows, and they're able to get a couple kills there onto Neo.
And the groan from the audience.
It's something you can always count on. As soon as the box, oh, come on.
Just when it was getting good.
We've been avoiding pauses pretty darn well today.
Yeah, we've been... I wonder if it's our fault now.
It could be, yeah.
Sorry, guys.
It's probably Raafaa's fault.
Yeah.
You were doing so well, too.
We were so close to getting through a day, no pauses. We had like one audio break, but it was just like a short 1-minute one. You know what? Hope, knock on wood,
the radar.
We'll get through this one really quickly. But so far, I mean, TSM, I feel like this has been a story in the game so far of Immortals. After getting this big advantage, then they overplay their hand.
Yeah.
They think that they're in a situation that they have all rights to be in, and TSM go, no, we can actually cut through this flank. We can quickly turn this table on you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest mistake was definitely at the second dragon, the overchase, trying to fight through the corridor onto Taliyah when they had a free dragon there. Because if you go back in time and you take that second dragon and you don't chase, then you don't even need to challenge at this potential team fight. Revenge can still be chilling this side lane, getting his work done. But they've kind of overplayed their hands in a couple of different situations. Ablazeolive stopping the TP, then getting into this 1v1 that he can't win against Solo. There's a solo kill there. They overchase at the second dragon. They die there, give over that second dragon. Now again here, trying to pull off this flank. I just don't think you can fight unless Fiora is coming from one angle and Ablazeolive is coming from the other. It's so difficult. Like Pyke and Fiora running straight at you in a team fight, trying to get past a Cassante is really, really tough, right? It's very difficult to actually do that, especially when Taliyah is throwing down the rocks. If you try to dash through that on either of those champions, you're going to be stunned up, you're going to be burst down. So it's really tough to be able to do that.
Yeah. We want to quickly mention to both our fans at home as well as those in the studio joining us that we have a bug investigation going
I'm
on.
seeing Reddy's in the chat though. I'm seeing Reddy, so I think
Was I lied to? Hold up.
Potentially there was a bug investigation. Maybe it was already done. I'm not sure.
The way it sounded like we were going to be here for a while. I had a conversation topic ready
all right,
and
go back
loaded
to it.
up. Oh, okay. All right. Well, we might be here for a while. We will try and sort it out as fast as possible. But something that I usually like to look at for teams, especially early on in the spring split, especially the spring split compared to the summer split, because you still have a long ways away before the big international tournament in Worlds. No way. Are we?
We're going back in. You can always count
All
on the
right,
Reddy's
I'm
in the
leaving.
chat.
I had this big conversation topic, but maybe we can save it for another time. But we should be getting back into game.
Yep. So the issue has been solved. I think we are going to be getting back into game here. It is resumed. Yep, we're in there. Here's the good news. You're going to be casting LCS every week, so you can save that topic for later.
Yeah! I'll try to get that in on the next one.
Happens to the best though. Sometimes you have a really cool point. You're like, I'm about to say this, and then they fight. And they're like, all right, wait. Now I'm really about to say this, and then something else happens.
I feel like that's the bane of every color caster. You find something interesting, like, oh, look at
You
this
just
cool
gotta
thing.
abandon ship.
Fight.
Follow the game. You're not allowed to say it. All right, well, TSM, Immortals did have a massive lead early on, but they've kind of bungled it, and it is now TSM only down 1K, with Neo looking really strong, and they're on sole point. And if Neo actually gets this IE finished up here, within a reasonable amount of time, I'm not sure how much gold he has in pocket. Let's see. He only has 500, so it's not likely that he's actually going to get the IE before this next fight. But when he gets that, he's going to be monstrously strong. Tactical has yet to finish his second item, so he's pretty far behind. And as we've seen, it's a lot easier to teamfight on that TSM side, even though they do have the Elise. It didn't really matter because Cassante, as well as Maple here, on the Taliyah, that is really making things difficult, I think, for Immortals to execute.
Yeah, the creative team fighting from TSM as a whole 5-man unit has been honestly impressive to see, just navigating a lot of these really difficult situations from Immortals.
Uh-oh.
Potential pick on the Kenvi. I mean, thankfully he is Sejuani, and he's already popped the Radiant Virtue with that ultimate, so he's healing back on up a little bit. He should be getting out alive. TSM, I don't think they're going to be looking at the Baron, so for this team, Neo, who's right now 3-1-2, I think this guy's been playing with a huge chip on his shoulder. If you think about his kind of career trajectory, wait, all out?
Nice parry. Actually got parried there by Revenge. Because he scooped him back into the turret, so then he's trying to look for the all-out to pull him actually under tower with already heating up. That could have been a great play, but a really well-timed parry from Revenge. Immunes that, so Solo goes all out, but his friend does not come with him.
Beautiful mind games from Revenge and just great patience and timing. TSM able to get the turret on the top side of the map, is fishing for another engagement. Fleshy easily dodges out on it. I know you're pointing to me, it's like, hey, do you want to talk about Neo again? I'm afraid we're going to get more fighting.
Go for it.
All right, 5 seconds in. All right, it's my time to shine, baby. Storytelling at its max. Okay, Neo, this guy, Dingatos, LCS starter, was bumped down to Academy, given over to Spawn to give him a chance, and then Neo gets dropped, goes to TSM, and I think this is someone that really wants to show that, as he was like one of those early Academy prospects during the 2020 season, 2021 coming up to the system and then getting his LCS start, Neo so far, creative flank angles, the culling, being able to get that pincer maneuver on the team fighting. This is an AD carry that, when speaking with him and Chime, or Chime specifically, he and Neo are very motivated to show up everyone, especially everyone that has doubts about this organization team as a whole.
Yeah, at his best, I think he's been a really, really strong team fighter. I feel like it was the pairing with Aframu probably a while ago that he looked really good.
Yeah.
It feels like kind of everyone looks good when they play with Aframu, to be honest.
Shout out to
Aframu, just announced his retirement. Very sad about that. We miss you already.
TSM gatekeeping this entry. Oh, nice glacial person from Kenvi. Oh, Neo might just be blown up here, but the positioning backwards as he unloads with the culling forces Immortals to retreat back through the corridor.
Yeah, Solo shows up with a TP, drops the all-out immediately, but not able to really grab anyone with it, unfortunately for them. It's just a another kind of trade of cooldowns. But Neo, at the end of the day, doesn't actually have to use his summoners, so it is those 2 flashes forced from Kenvi as well as Ablazeolive. Just trying to grief some of the resets there, trying to stop them from being able to reset prior to this dragon. I think Maple wanted them to be stuck out on the map. He's still full mana, and he didn't really have a buy, so I think he's trying to screw up those res timers, or rather the back timers. As we'll see, you know, TSM, no vision yet around that dragon. Neither team really has established any vision around this dragon. Now they are moving in to try to get some. Fleshy going to try to contest it, but we'll see if he can really find anything, because this is the fight for Soul. Ablazeolive still down towards bot, and Tactical as well as Revenge are going up towards the Baron. They're going to try to actually two-man the Baron potentially here. I don't think there's any chance.
No, it's not going to happen fast enough. TSM are already booking it over to the top side of the map. I think they have Neo and Maple just two-manning the dragon, and I mean, it was a nice call. Unfortunately for Immortals, there was already vision from TSM that established it, and now free soul for TSM.
Yeah, and this is something that, it was a play that people used to look for like a lot back in the day that sometimes worked, but now everyone kind of knows when you're going for Dragon and you are in the power position, if they try to trade for Baron, you just leave 1 to 2 people and everyone else moves up, right? And it's just never really going to work out unless the team on Baron is the one that has like overwhelming damage and kind of like instantly kill it. So TSM, you know, able to grab that soul for free. Immortals not feeling like they are in a position to team fight. And whether or not that is correct is the situation that they are in now. Revenge still really strong in the 1v1, but Solo has done a good enough job of just actually holding him at towers that it's not like he's threatening the base. So it's not really mattering. Like, yes, you would win that 1v1 potentially, but Solo's never really going to give you the extended 1v1. He's just going to keep focusing on clearing out the waves. And if you overcommit by the turret and he can flip you into the turret, then all of a sudden you're going to lose the 1v1.
Yeah. You know, there's definitely a lot of top laners that might take that ego check with you against Revenge if you're in Solo's position, but Solo drops it completely. It's like, listen, I don't need to do anything. You need to come towards my way. And then, as you said, that's when things can get dicey on the Cassante side of the matchup for TSM. Once again, eyes on Neo. You can even tell that Immortals have been trying to get this guy, but no sums having been burned either. Now Revenge finds himself pinned. Bugi repelling in, looks for the cocoon. Great riposte from Revenge, blocks it out, makes it out alive.
Yeah, nice escape there from Revenge, but kind of poor aim from the E on Maple. You know, you know exactly where he's gonna go, right? You know that he has to actually dash over your wall, so you need to throw the Unraveled Earth so that it's actually going over your wall as well, so that when he Qs through, he's gonna get stunned up. But at the very least, they get that pressure, they get the reset. Revenge has no TP, so this is gonna be really tough to contest. Revenge is gonna stay around, but he's at like 40% health with no mana. Chime, though, getting chunked down by that Draven ult.
They just want to turn on to Fleshy. Neo opens up with the culling. Gets a little bit more damage into the backhand. Kenvi throws out Glacial Prison just to stun them up, but Neo doesn't even worry about burning summoners because no one is really there to follow up from Immortals. It's more of a, please stop chasing us.
Yep, exactly. You know, Neo backstepped at an appropriate time. Had he continued chasing forward and got Glacial Prison, they might have actually fully turned on him and tried to burst him down. But he did not, so TSM not willing to actually flip that Baron. It is still Immortals with the gold lead, but it just doesn't really feel like it because it's only on Revenge, and Revenge isn't really joining. Revenge is actually heading for the base. You can see on the minimap, he's going to actually head to the base. They're going to try to stop this. Can he actually get in and steal it? It's up to Kenvi.
Immortals, all you got to do is just stall this as long as you can. If you don't get the Baron, just give Revenge time to unlock the gates over on the other side of the map. Kenvi has already fallen. A recall's coming in from Chime, and I don't think Revenge is going to be able to get that much. Gets the inhibitor tower. He's going to chance it for the inhibitor as well. Oh, he's got to get out now. Everyone is there.
Yeah, and TSM is actually going to move down. They can actually go for a long chase. If Solo wants to continue chasing, no, they're going to decide, hey, it's not actually worth the time. So they will let him get out. But it is Baron for TSM. Multiple kills for TSM. They are looking really good. Nice sidestep there from Tactical. Avoids the seismic shove, but it's not really going to do much for them here. You know, Kenvi just couldn't actually find the angle on the blast cone to get in. It was a good job from Solo, you know, using the all-out, trying to CC him up, push Kenvi away. Because as soon as they see Revenge bot lane, they know that all Immortals is really going for is a flip, right? They're trying to just steal it and hope that then you can delay the bases, Revenge takes the base, some sort of situation like that. Because at this point, that's really all Immortals can hope for. But when the enemy team gets Baron, split pushing becomes so hard because you can't actually wave clear fast enough. So, you know, if Revenge was to stay in a side lane, TSM can just bull rush down mid lane with 5, and they're going to be able to really assert their dominance with the extra man.
Especially considering what Immortals opted in for with this composition. There's no Azir here. There's no Victor that can give you that stronger form of wave clear to stall out the game so that your split pusher can get things done. This is a Sylas. This is a Draven. They had, obviously, you know, different expectations to how this game was going to go. They had this snowball planned in mind. It just didn't pan out that way, and now they're dealing with the repercussions of it.
Absolutely, and here comes TSM, you know, looking to just bully it down this lane. Mid lane's being pushed up, but Solo's just going forward. He wants to fight. Takes no damage from the tower, no damage from the stolen culling. He does not care at all.
And just wait until he goes all out. I mean, you see it full tank and then just turns into an all damage threat. Maple cuts off any lines of retreat from Kenvi, potentially pushes him back, gets the flash out. Tidal wave just causes even more distress as TSM is laying waste to the base of Immortals. One more Nexus turret stands between them and certified victory. Immortals now have to throw everything on the line to potentially defend. But the rest of TSM looking to make their way slowly through this one. Kenvi gets caught out. Neo gets another kill for himself. And now TSM, they just have to work one by one. Revenge has potentially a flank angle, but you have to coordinate well. You have to do it on equal terms. And Immortals, they're just throwing themselves in one by one. TSM on the doorsteps of claiming their first victory of the Spring Split, and a strong start for them in the LCS.
Nice comeback from TSM. Immortals had a huge early game lead, but it's TSM battling back, punishing the overextensions there from Immortals. A couple times, Immortals overplayed their hand.
Yeah.
And TSM really took full advantage of that, able to get some great punishes, started to stack those dragons up, move towards the soul, and Neo having a great game here. 4-1-7 on the Lucian, some really good team fighting. Bugi with a fun debut on the Elise was really, really active in the early game. Couldn't really find too much in that early game, unfortunately for him, but was able to, you know, have some effectiveness in those team fights. And I think, you know, Maple had some great ult on the Taliyah, moved around the map well, and kind of showcased what I think are some of his biggest strengths.
Yeah, honestly, really big props to Neo. I mean, TSM's early game plan was taking a chance on really getting this Lucian Nami bot lane ahead. They had some slip-ups in that. Give them applause, everyone. Yeah, Neo and Chime just really being able to take full control and advantage of the resources that they were being given. And when you look at that team, the most consistent damage dealer, the person that has to step up on those front lines in the late game, is Neo. And the way that he was positioned, he was always towing the line between how far I can go without having to burn summoner spells, without having to burn important cooldowns on his side.
And I think Solo deserves a lot of credit, you know, creating space, making the team fight very, very difficult for IMT. You know, being able to kind of create that space for Neo to move forward, for Maple to move forward. You know, think about the situation that he was put in. No help whatsoever. You know, he's playing tank on weak side into this counter pick. Of course, he did have counter pick, because I'll be picked later, but he's in a difficult matchup. Ends up getting a solo kill on Ablazeolive. Team fights really, really well. You know, able to neutralize the Fiora enough that that could not actually be a win condition for the game. They couldn't actually close that game out. But this is going to be one that is really frustrating for Immortals, because you actually go back in time to right after Tactical cashed in off of Fleshy getting that ult kill down in bot lane, and you look at the position that they had, the games that they had, there's only one dragon on the other team. You're up a good, what, 4K, I want to say, around that point. Revenge has a massive advantage in that 1v1. It feels like everything was in their favor, right? And it's a couple mistakes and these key moments that really threw the game away. So definitely a frustrating early loss here for Immortals, and especially when you know that this is one of those teams that's supposed to be, or expected to be, around you in the standings. So those are the ones that you really want to get wins on to try to climb up that table.
Because against the other expected favorites of the league,
it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be a tougher hill to climb. For us too, this is what I wanted to bring up. For teams earlier on in the season, you know, do you want to do more of the limit testing earlier on the season where the games don't have as much impact, you have more time and room to grow as the spring?
I think absolutely, right? If there's time to experiment, it's at the start of the split, right? I don't think you want to just be like turtling up into your ball and say, all right, we're only going to play for late. We're going to play Azir and Jinx and Ornn every game, right? Like if you go for that style, you're severely limiting yourself. And I think especially when you're changing rosters, as almost everyone is in the league, you have to have that confidence in your teammates, you know, to be able to experiment, to be able to find out what is truly going to work best for your teams, right? So there are going to be in these early weeks some of these flubs where maybe something isn't executed as cleanly, where teams haven't practiced it out as well, or maybe where they're playing a style that isn't necessarily totally suited to them.
Yeah.
But teams definitely want to experiment and figure out what exactly is going to be the best when it comes crunch time.
Well, something for them to consider, but, you know, do not discourage by these results as well as it is early on in the spring. But, of course, for us, that means we are done for casting for the day, but the broadcast is not over. Thank you. But, you know, the real important thing is that we have a player interview, and that means Emily is going to be joining Chime for our Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you, Raafaa. Congrats on your first day of casting the LCS. I am here with victorious TSM support Chime. The last time I spoke with you actually was kind of in the middle of what looked like maybe an unlikely TSM playoff run.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately didn't work out for you guys, but just generally, how's your off season been? What's it been like getting on the with the new team?
It was nice. I think I grinded a lot, and I've never played a spring split before or gone through an off season knowing I was going to play LCS or was likely to. So it was really nice to like bond with my team, especially in Korea. That was a really cool experience.
Nice. I'm actually glad you brought that up because one thing that's always stuck out in my mind since he said it was I remember talking to former LCS top laner Alarim, and he talked about the main difference between being asked to actually start on the team, right, as opposed to just kind of subbing in.
Yeah.
So can you describe, I guess, the feeling of like, what did it feel like when you knew that TSM felt like you were their starting support, and what the difference is in terms of that and subbing in kind of an emergency situation?
I mean, from a player's perspective, it's a lot more rewarding. And then I think from a fan perspective as well, you feel like you're actually part of the team. Whereas, you know, twice I kind of felt like a bit of a mercenary myself, even though we have our own in the top lane. But yeah, I think it's really satisfying to know that like your team is backing you.
And so you guys tried out the Lucian Nami, something we've seen a lot in pro play.
Yeah.
When they ended up picking the Draven Pyke into it, this isn't the first time we've kind of seen a kill lane going into some of the pushing bot lanes. We did see a Draven Nautilus, I believe, into Zeri Yuumi in the LEC. So what was your reaction to that pick, and how did you guys deal with the fact that you knew they were just going to try to kill you?
Yeah, I mean, we expected it going in because with our bans, we knew that Draven Pyke was a realistic option, especially because what I've heard about their support, at least, is that he's a really good Pyke player. And I think he did play Pyke well. I just think, you know, if they don't kill us basically in the first, like, 5 minutes, their game is really hard. So that was pretty much our game plan, was just, like, you know, we're playing on hard mode for the first 5 minutes. If they don't do something, they have a Pyke, you know, and they have a Draven. So it's on them, really.
And then I also noticed that Bugi obviously is paying a lot of attention. When you're on the Elise, you kind of really do want to get stuff done super early to get the snowball. I think that worked in your favor, especially with the dragon stacking you guys were able to do. But what's your communication been like with Bugi since he joined the team?
It's been good. I think, I mean, jungle support are supposed to talk a lot together, obviously. And I think we're still working on certain words and terms because obviously his English isn't his first language. And so I think it's just getting on the same page. Yeah, I think like it's kind of funny how we've gone through some terms. Like I remember one scrim set I was talking about how their support didn't have their quest, and I was like, they don't have quests, and he was like, sweep their jungle, and I was like, no, they don't have any quests yet, and he was like, what is quest? And I was like, oh, they don't have any wards, and it took us a while to kind of figure that out. So just certain terms like that.
Okay, cool. And then finally, with this TSM lineup, I think a lot of people are looking at it and being like, what kind of team is this going to be? So based on your experience thus far, what kind of play style can we expect from TSM as you guys continue to improve throughout the split?
I mean, I think Bugi's an incredible player, and I think we play a lot around what he sees and what he can do. So I think just that primarily, and then looking through, I mean, right now bot lane is just, you know, pick the weirdest stuff to get push. You know, there's Caitlyn, there's Jhin, there's Heimerdinger, there's Azir. So yeah, I think it's just, you know, a lot about bot lane meta right now, and me and Neo have been working really hard to make sure that we perform for our team.
Nice. Well, congrats on your win today. All the best of luck to your first kind of starting LCS split.
Thank you.
And to wrap up the day, we're going back to the analyst desk.
Thanks a lot, Emily. She's going to be coming to fill that seat, but...
What desk, Emily? I don't see one.
Yeah, we
really need a name.
We do.
I need a name. I was pitching just the analysts. You're like the zone.
I don't like the
analysts. The club. The dome.
The dome is nice.
The cake town. The high roller.
Also...
You still have Speaka's cake?
I do. It still tastes good. It's fine. For how long it'll taste good for, that's why I need to eat it now.
Well, while you do that, we're supposed to be recapping the day, I think.
Yes, we will.
Instead of subjecting the viewers.
We're finally a day.
So roll the footage. We're just going to go through over the day. And I love the fact that the last interview we got was with Chime, and he did have a conversation about the support pool, because that's been the story of the day.
The story of game one was
Cassante!
He just completely dominated this game. I will say, he did get some early jungle help to put himself in an advantageous position, but this was the turning point.
I will also say that's a bread and butter Cassante combo near his turret. You get the Q3 back behind you, you W them back, you ult them back, and get free turret shots. And I've seen this been working in every league in the world. People need to wisen up. It's like Gragas ulting the wave and hitting them under turret. People need to stop falling for this trick.
How about double-elimination getting caught for a ton of flame today? Basically, when Cutie Cinderella asked, everyone she asked who the most overrated player is coming into the year, all three, Fudge, Blabber, and Spica said double.
It's just like punching. It's like punching up, you know. Like he's one of the most popular
he is
players.
Very
He's
popular.
out of the league,
and he did a lot of punching on his co-stream as well.
Yeah,
so they need to get him back.
Yeah.
That's true. And I think just in general, like, everyone is going to be looking at him, including fans. He has a ton of fans. Even the first vote we had between C9 versus 100 Thieves, the fans voted largely for 100 Thieves because they have big brand players.
Like
they have a lot of
37 or something?
Huh? Yes.
I mean, C9 shut him up, though. C9 crushed them this game. It was not super close. I think I maybe doubted C9 a little bit. We'll see how it goes, but Fudge absolutely smurfed. Berserker looked very good with his ARAM Ashe build. Popping off.
Raz, you have, Raz has some icing.
You have a little
Where?
on your teeth.
Yeah, open up your teeth. Just show the camera. Yeah, beautiful.
Reads.
I did have blue that's really tough to get out on my thumb. So I don't know what happened here. I just have a blue thumb.
Oh,
Let's
man.
get back to God.
Oh, man. Who?
He's got a biker stash.
Is that like the filter to make people old?
Oh,
or is
that's
that,
what it
or
is.
that other people?
Yeah. Because double-lift doesn't look that, frankly.
Yeah.
He ain't that old.
God damn.
Yeah, it's definitely a filter. I'm just wondering, is it a filter or a different person? Because it's definitely not double with the beard.
What game is this?
Actually, probably the closest game of the day.
Oh,
that didn't look like it on Big.
Young had a really good game, I felt like.
Young
especially on sideline.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Young had a really good game. This is really kind of smart by River to revisit after blowing JoJo's Fosh. I was actually really impressed with how well Golden Guardians were able to play out this game.
Yeah, the problem was it just was like small mistakes because this was literally a second after the gank mid was successful. Licorice was really confident, felt like his jungler was nearby, also got the kill on mid lane. So I was like, okay, great, I can get a deep ward. But then Inspired was unexpectedly in his jungle.
I will say, if you remember why Golden Guardians flailed around last year, it's because they had winning game states and then were never able to win.
Yeah. I will say it's a pretty different lineup.
It is, but it still happened.
I mean, but they're missing their main mid laner, Gory. I mean, maybe he would help.
I guess the only holdovers are Licorice, 6A.
Yeah.
And 6A wasn't even the whole year last.
I mean, River showed up at the end, but that obviously didn't work. They didn't have time to gel. I think for EG, it was like a little scary game that almost got away from them, but it came off some oopsies, and clearly JoJo had a terrible game. I don't think this is indicative of the level he's going to play with. Even his teammates were memeing him on Twitter afterwards. So like, I think you're happy to walk away with this win, but you're actually not too stressed out about the fact it was close. You're just like, JoJo, what the hell was that? And you go back and have a better day tomorrow.
100%. I think the positive takeaway is mostly how Jungle is performing with bot lane. Inspired, FBI.
Crazy,
Inspired played incredibly well, and that early dive on bot lane I thought was communicated excellently. Speaking of communication, I mean just play.
This one
was bad.
This was not well communicated.
Yeah.
Poor executed.
Execution.
Don't know what the plan was.
Point.
I mean, this was the slow, what was it, no kill for 15 minutes?
This was the LCK.
This is the LCK. TLCK coming up big.
TLCK. FlyQuest is just as...
It's the same roster
and 4 Korean players.
Yeah, well, it's also like one now like green card import who's like a red.
So Impact Core DJ.
Yeah, Core DJ, yeah. 2 real imports and then 2 native younger players, but 1 from Osh.
And it was really surprising that...
Same exact lineup.
I was surprised at how well they played with Ayla not even in...
He's not there yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the fact that, I mean, Winsome had a great game, so it's nice to see him. That through line. He's been playing in Europe, I'm pretty sure, with Unicorns of Love. So I remember that part. So the fact that he's on this, that he came back to North America with that experience, you kind of saw it here. But that being said, speaking of seeing things, Impact just actually
I was gonna say, I think the story of this game was definitely Impact kind of going on the GP and then absolutely destroying this game. So that, I mean, they could have fallen behind early a lot, especially in bot lane. They had to mitigate a lot of pressure, and they ended up coming up on top of the impact.
This was low-key one of the most interesting games of the day for me, just because everyone has Dig and CLG 6-7. It's just about which one's 6, which one's 7.
Man.
This was like a mini grudge match to me.
Me putting CLG 7th, like I know it is wrong, but I still couldn't put them in anywhere else. Like it doesn't make any sense. They were better than 7th last year. They made no changes. Yeah. But like, it's advertising, man. Like every other team advertised that they made their team better somehow.
Yeah.
This team is gonna hit the golf ball longer, straighter, and better every year, but it's not true. Like if you just stick with the old CLG, they're clearly gonna be better than 7th. But I still put them 7th.
It's tough. You always feel like this is a good example of, and I mean, it's day one, so I don't want to overreact, but with Dignitas' roster, of course I'm going to be excited for Santorin and Jen, especially Santorin in the level of play that he has shown in Team Liquid's games. Whether they were doing well in those games or not, he was like a shining light. So this one was just a rough one, especially.
I mean, your camera.
Yeah.
Especially, here we go.
Don't cheat.
Especially the steal on
I didn't know
Herald.
what the range was.
Yeah. Oh, now you know.
My bad.
But like stealing Herald, that one was wild. That one was just a heartbreaker for Santorin because he didn't have Smite at the time.
This game was really strange because it looked like Immortals was just gonna slow play, destroy them. And then at one point, they never managed to get a dragon or get more than 2 kills.
Yeah.
It was interesting hearing Chime's interview talk about it, where they're like, we were playing on hard mode through the early game, so I think they maybe backed off a little bit more and gave some stuff to TSM initially, and then it's a lot harder to close out with their comp, as Chime was saying. And I think TSM looked a little bit better than I thought they would coming into today.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me was how often, and obviously, like, yes, it's Elise. Yes, you're going to need to make plays early in order for her to be successful. But I was really impressed with how he was covering that bot lane, because they did know, like, hey, if we mess up, we're dead.
Yeah. But this was the fight that really broke it. The Sylas flank coming in from Ablazeolive that kind of teetered. I thought that was really rough, and then they just lose the fight. That was a great ulti from
That's
Maple.
a sick wall.
I feel like I didn't give him enough credit when I first saw it. I was like, okay, 100 Thieves really 100 Thieves.
I think this is the first time you saw it, Raz.
No, but IMT, I felt like they just threw the game with that fight.
Yeah.
But actually, Maple's ulti there was beautiful.
I think a lot of people were also just surprised that like scaling did very well today. I think for LCS, the 2 GP games.
Yeah.
Obviously more early game oriented there for Immortals. I saw some people talking about that on Twitter, but I don't know. It was an interesting day.
Yeah, that's it. That's the first day. These are the standings: Cloud9, COG, EG, FlyQuest, and TSM. The undefeated teams. I think TSM's going to be very happy we won't be running any more of those. At this point of the year, they've always had more than 0 wins because they got the first win.
Oh, no.
They don't have to go through that again this year.
There are some great ones. Like double-elimination hasn't won a game since 2020.
Yeah.
And that's a streak that continues to tomorrow.
Yep.
True.
Yep. Still hasn't won a game in over 2 years.
Yeah, Cloud9 hasn't lost an LCS game in over a dozen of them. Tomorrow's schedule, we got CLG versus EG, 2 undefeated Titans right off the bat. Golden Guardians, Cloud9 actually is pretty good usually. TSM looking to get equaled by Team Liquid Honda. I think we're probably going to say Team Liquid's favored in that one. 100 Thieves Immortals, and the week will end with FlyQuest and Dignitas.
I think both of their games today make CLG and EG a pretty interesting matchup to kick it off. I mean, there's something I really like about this CLG team, even though they obviously didn't reach their goal of making it to Worlds last year. I think the idea that they're keeping the roster to see how far their ceiling could be. And additionally, their role in the LCS last year of kind of pushing other teams and forcing them to respond to how early they were getting kills was really interesting.
I mean, the 2 CLG EG games last summer in the regular season were absolute bangers. They were some of the best games of the split. And to that point, they pushed EG really hard when EG was clearly the best team in the league. CLG got a lot of credibility, even though I think they lost both of them. They were like Nexus flips, basically.
Yeah. And I'm interested in the Team Liquid TSM game, mostly because I felt like Team Liquid had a really tough game versus FlyQuest, and I just want to see what this team looks like with Pyosik playing through Summit.
Dude, that cake is just all...
You just have blue on your face. It's like...
Really? Is it that bad? Give me my clip.
Someone make the Smurf joke, you know?
Yeah.
Is it that bad? I actually... Why did I take my glasses off? Like that makes it clearer. Like, I took my glasses off.
The Blue Man Group joke from Arrested Development.
And Raz, you said earlier, I don't want to overreact after day one. That's the whole point of watching day one, is so you can overreact. Otherwise, you just check in when the season is over.
True. But it's dangerous for a team like... A good example is like Dignitas. Like, they don't have their full team. Armut came in just literally like the
Yeah, they still
on the
have
week.
no practice together.
So like there's that element of it. And so I don't want to put too much into it.
Yeah.
But that game was rough. So
that was a roughie. And that's it for this day of LCS. Opening day presented by MasterCard. Thank you for joining us. The rebroadcast starts right after we wrap up. So really, really soon, if you're watching now, didn't get spoiled by all our highlights and want to watch them live, definitely tune in for that. Also, we'll be rating the NACL Salt League Qualifier reveal show. So if you want to see that, that's when you stick around if you're not going to check out the rebroadcast. So that's going to do it from us, and we will see you next time. Rass is just going...
I blew myself.
you want some of this?
Look at the camera and smile.
That clip was made before the day, for sure.
This is Yumi, by the way. Yumi post-back.
It's good to be back! Welcome to the brand new Riot Games Arena here in beautiful Santa Monica. The LCS 2023 season starts right now! Takes him low, jumps right back in. Fudge going for the solo kill. He flashes. Tenacity tries to spin, but Fudge gets the outplay. Fudge goes in, Closer has to run, double up under pressure, and Blabber just beats him to death. Welcome back to the LCS. Tenacity is not looking very tenacious right now, and Berserker goes berserk as 100 Thieves are getting cut down. Bjergsen wants to be the hero, but C9 reduces him to 0. It is an ace.
We're buying time here. Yeah, we got it. Yeah. Okay. Nice. Get out. Multi in 3. I want to fight. Check. Yeah. 0, guys. It's here. Nice, guys. Back now.
Someday gets young, but now he's gonna be careful. River's still ready to go, and Someday's right back into the fight as FBI kills off Rigorous. The Golden Guardians are falling, but Stixday gets the rain of arrows in the last second to try to hold on. Golden Guardians are right, and it's a triple kill of an FBI. Summit with a counter-strike, re-engages. He doesn't think he's got any way out, so he's ready to take someone down, but Impact gets the kill. Now Core JJ's on the run. He dies. A double kill back over to Impact. Piocia can't do a thing as Harry and Yawn try to get away.
Check this roll. Then no. Yep. Just. And please. Why are you playing for KDA? GG. Quadra. Penta. Let's go! Long have we awaited. Raafaa has arrived to the LCS, and the fans are loving it. Oh, let's go! We got a chant!
Holy. Do it. Hook, line, and sinker.
Oh, that's
Arrow Clash, she'll prison on top of it. The orbital cannon. Luger doesn't even need to have the damage. It's just CLG outplaying Dignitas. Everyone from CLG is looking to end the game. Whom hasn't even died yet. He fought valiantly to the bitter end just so that CLG could pick up their first win of the Spring Split of LCS. And look at Maple, looking to cut them off. A beautiful flank from the side. And Immortals, they're just throwing themselves in one by one. TSM on the doorsteps of claiming their first victory of the Spring Split. And a strong start for them in the LCS.
Mine looks good.
I like that. Wait a minute. That's beautiful.
His is sad. She's crying because Riot just nerfed her to the ground. That is why.